Oh, the humanity. Multiple sources even are reporting this morning that this is it for Checo Perez, that this is not a draw. Motorsport Italy is saying that Red Bull have made the decision, wielding the sword of Damocles, that they threatened to do all season long. We know that Helmut Marko and Christian Horner had a meeting post the summer break to decide indeed they were going to jettison off Mr. F1 Flotsam and Jetsam. The man who had been underperforming has made a career out of it thus far. What are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Why did they hold on to him for so long? Well, of course, it was a couple of things. There was a documentary, Not Rindas Cabron, that celebrated Checo Perez, not in substantial resilience, him being able to overcome adversity at each and every single point throughout his career. Would look bad, to sack him not long after that documentary even has been published. So too, Maximilian Verstappen said that what he wanted was stability. He didn't want them to go and sign Carlos Sainz Jr. and make his life more difficult in a season that was already beset on both sides even by multitudinous travails, the ills of the car, a plethora or a deluge even of key personnel leaving the balls that are red. Then we get this morning the news that potentially one Liam Lawson will succeed the Mexican Minister of Defense for next year. They write, Robert Chinchero proceeds that the Milton Keynes team has chosen the 2025 lineup pairing the New Zealander with Maximilian Verstappen for, some say, soon to be 5-time champion Liam Lawson. With only 12 Grand Prix behind him, he's facing a delicate transition in his career because the jump to replace Checo Perez was not carefully prepared. Yuki Tsunoda failed and remains in racing bulls alongside Isaac Hajar. Let me talk to you about Yuki Tsunoda very quickly. There's a brilliant post on F1 Reddit that summarises the reasons why Red Bull were never going to pick their Japanese driver. Most recently, it says Horner described Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson as being evenly matched at the Qatar Grand Prix, that they both had proper opportunity, notwithstanding the fact that Yuki Tsunoda has performed better in longer form. Indeed, if you were comparing and contrasting their resumes, you would go for Yuki Tsunoda each and every single time, but there is something about that fella that Horner and Marko don't quite fancy, and it's laid out by the following. The Red Bull team principal made no reference of Lawson's incident with Bottas, the kind of error that Yuki Tsunoda has been criticised immensely for in the most recent past. Quite clearly, there was no result for the Japanese the Japanese driver could deliver to earn the promotion to the big team, the big C, alongside Max Verstappen. Regardless of how well he performs, Yuki Tsunoda's chances of climbing the Red Bull ladder seem to have always been non-existent. Indeed, for Yuki Tsunoda, it was a mirage. Never ever was going to happen, but I digress. The Motorsport Italy article continues. The only doubt is related to the exit modality of one Checo Perez. Potentially he'll become an ambassador. Will they need to buy him out? Potentially. But speaking of buyout, let me tell you how Checo Perez, how bad that dude has been, how solid and ironclad the case is for Red Bull wielding the sword of Damocles. They say that he brings in sponsorship money to the tune of $20 million per year by dint of Carlos Slim tick. They say that he sells a lot of energy drinks and merchandise in Mexico. Let's say 5 million, just as a conservative estimate tick. They pay him $40 million every single year. This year alone, in the season that is 2024, crash damage totals 5 million. Checo Perez only. The constructors, he's lost them 20 million. If he'd done as George and Lewis had done, Red Bull would be constructors championship this year. That totals circa 25 million to the negative, does it not? 40% of the team at Milton Keynes, that's how much of their bonus they will lose because of them finishing third in the constructors, because again of Checo Perez's underperformance. The situation is now toxic. The team at Milton Keynes are now demotivated because Checo Perez is costing them and the entity money. It only makes sense. They will wield, as they have done so frequently in the past, the sword of Damocles and chop and change. Go ask Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Kvyat et al. Alex Albon too. This is nothing new from Red Bull plus change. The article continues. At Red Bull, they have realised that as much as Perez is liked by Verstappen, the gig is up. The juice is no longer worth the Checo Perez squeeze. The funding that is guaranteed because of the companies that Carlos Slim supports, that have supported him for so many years, are no longer greater than the deficit that the team pays in the Constructors' World Championship. 20 million is how much they've lost. He gets paid 14, and so too. You've got to factor in the 40% that the team are losing as far as bonus. If Perez obtained the same final score as George Russell or Lewis Hamilton in Milton Keynes, they would have celebrated the driver's title in addition to the Constructors' World Championship. The paradox, however, continued this article, is that despite the availability of a satellite team, next year Red Bull will put alongside Verstappen a driver in Liam Lawson, who was only competed in 11 Grand Prix spread over 2 seasons, all because of a confusing schedule by Marco, who went against excellent calls, Danny Rick passing to Nick De Vries. Again, it's been chaos, turning down Carlos Sainz, sacking off Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon. The number of good drivers who have come and gone through the Red Bull drivers program, again, multitudinous. With Liam Lawson's promotion to Red Bull continues, this Motorsport Italy article, Marco hopes to find stability. Liam has quality and has already shown great speed of adaptation, but he will arrive at the start of his first full season in F1 as Verstappen's partner. Oh, the humanity. Imagine your maiden voyage. You look across the other side of the garage and you only see 4, maybe soon to be 5-time champion Max Verstappen. Ever the daunting proposition as a rookie, no less. It won't be the most comfortable place, continues Motorsport Italy, but it's a great opportunity provided he's given the time he needs to grow and familiarise himself. Time that with a different schedule Lawson could have already had at the Racing Bulls RB Visa Cash App, arriving more prepared for what will probably be the most important portion of Liam Lawson's career. Ladies and gentlemen, it gets techie. He's wishing, as I hope most of the F1 community do, that Liam Lawson's maiden voyage will be a successful one.